So, how did Aranium get so good at Viktor? I mean, what did he do? How did he unlock the secrets of Viktor? Now, this might sound weird, but he played him, and he kept playing him until he decided he's good, he's bad, he's okay. Aranium likes him, he can do a lot of damage, he knows how to do that damage, and he learned how to play him. A lot of people look for very, very quick solutions. Guides on solo mid, for example. I'm not going to say they're a bad idea, but if it's the only thing you rely on when it comes to learning a new champion, you're going to be behind. You can only put so much information, you can only gain so much information from these guides. A lot of the knowledge you're going to have isn't going to be up here where well, actually I have no idea how brains work. So let's just say the knowledge is up here in the forehead part of your brain, going, oh yeah, this is what I can remember, this is what I tell people, this is stuff that I can just easily discuss. A lot of it's going to be back here in the backseat driver part of your brain saying, no, don't do that now, do that now. Okay, go, no, stop, go. The part of your brain that's just kind of instinct and reactive. And Aranium learning Viktor, it took him time, it took him just building these base reactions. I mean, controlling that ult with SmartCast. That is something that a lot of people will not be able to do for quite a few games, just because you're going to press that button. And most ults, when you press a button, they just kind of do their thing. This ult is a bit more like a puppy dog that is very, very lonely and wants your attention. You got to kind of control him. You got to say, puppy, go murder that guy. Murder that guy. You can't just be puppy, murder everybody. So if you have a puppy that murders, you will understand my analogy very well. And you should probably call animal control. But what I'm trying to say is, don't rely on one resource, don't rely on other people's words. Rely on yourself, rely on your heart, on your brain, on your spirit, on your courage, or something. Just go out there and experiment. That's how good heroes or good sleeper cell champions are found. Sometimes it takes a bit of effort. Sometimes they'll go, oh, maybe we'll look at the numbers first before we dive in. But go try your weird thing and learn it and see if it works. Viktor, I think Viktor's totally viable, but I think he's difficult to play. And so few people know how to play him that it's just not going to happen in many tournaments unless you see Aranium there. Now, if Viktor happens to show up at IPL next week, then I am totally full of BS and I'm sorry for lying to you. But if he doesn't, well, you might know why. Now, that's beside the point. Let's go hop into the rest of part 2. I totally managed to avoid hitting my table for most of this, but I had to get it right at the very end. Well, let's go in. So last we left off, our heroes had just gotten beaten in by Twisted Fate. This can happen, it's unfortunate. And when this does happen, you want to just back off and go ahead and let them take objectives. I mean, right now, Aranium can try and poke a bit. It's not bad, but how's he going to follow up? Champion Mage has to go back. They have the entire enemy team there. They're low on mana, sure, but he's more likely to die and won't accomplish much. By the way, Lee Sin smited the red wraith there. I just like that. I mean, they're not going to go for any objectives soon, I guess, so it's not a huge deal, but it's very funny to see. And I think Lee Sin did that just because it's awesome. But let's talk about Viktor's burst. It's really, really high. Aranium describes him as a burst character, and there is no doubt about it. He does have sustained damage in both his R, and his E has a fairly short cooldown for an AoE spell. But let's just see Viktor's burst in action. Now, Twisted Fate and Alistar have him at the tower. Luckily, a minion was tanking. Now, he's exposed. Nanoin taking a tower shot is actually pretty good. So, Twisted Fate, he's walking into the stun. Aranium decides, you know what, I can go on this. That was 700 damage right there. Plus his ult, plus the ignite. And I think he actually flashed on accident, which I find kind of funny. Aranium told me this was his first game back from taking a break for school. So, he's a bit sloppy, but it's okay. And this is just the unfortunate effect of a team that's good at picks. I mean, Alistar and Lee Sin getting on a support, that support cannot really get away. And sadly, Nanoin doesn't. Now, we're going to show the strength of Aranium's stun right now. So, he sets it down. And if Lee Sin did not blink with that ward, he would get stunned. He's already at 2 stacks. He did not have the time to leave that cage. The cage has a really short range. That is the big downfall of it. It's not Vigor cage where you're going to throw it from a million miles away and catch that carry and burst them. But it's an AoE CC that's kind of hard to avoid and can really just block space. Unlike Veigar CC though, you're not Veigar, you're not restricted to this really bursty way of playing where you're trying to get all your spells land. You can kind of go for a lot of AoE. Veigar's kind of weird. But anyhow, blue team is getting caught on this bush. This is just what happens when you don't have an oracles. You can't make assumptions about where a team has wards because things like this will happen. But Graves got his spells off, and they were just able to get some nice AoE on purple side. As you can see, purple side, even with a good catch, can't really team fight. This is just the effects of their team composition. Like, things did not go optimally for blue side. Graves dying at the start of the fight is bad. Sona only hitting Alistar is bad, but Nat wasn't able to get close enough to get it on other people. But even then, they still won the fight by quite a bit, just because everyone on blue side has this great team fight. The only person who's really a single target is Warwick, but that's not too big a deal. I guess Nidalee is not considered a team fight character, but that's not too important. But this is the strength of purple side. Graves just kind of died. There was not much you could do to protect Graves. I mean, maybe a second Alistar coming in and sitting the enemy team would save them, but like that's how they work, and that's how they want to fight. Now we're going to enter the Viktor Farm Fest, and I want you guys to see how well Viktor farms. Aranium just got his death cap. He's really strong right now, but he wants to go for a big advantage, and he's going to do that through farming and through wraiths. Now this is an aspect of mid characters that is actually important in today's tournament scene, but you don't hear people talk about it. The ability to take wraiths is actually huge. I mean, you can go there, throw down your spell, and get an extra 60 gold almost instantly. And that builds up, and you deny the enemy team if you steal theirs. So as you can see, Aranium's just running around, dropping lasers everywhere, blowing things up. He is lighting things on fire. But he's not trying to get out of position, he's not trying to start anything. He knows that he saw what his team can do in a fight, and he just wants to buy and get big. So he gets a giant spell. Now he's harder to kill. If Alistar catches him, he might be able to get his burst off. And that's what he wants. He doesn't want to stay alive. Well, he wants to stay alive, but he doesn't need to. He's not a consistent DPS. He's not an AD carry. He's someone who's going to blow someone up. And because of that, all he needs to do is get a wave of spells out, and he'll have killed someone. Possibly multiple people. Just look at he still has that same burst on Twisted Fate. 1/3 of his HP, gone. That was a really good snap, by the way. I'm very impressed with myself. And the enemy team doesn't really know what to do right now. They can't pick off Nidalee. Graves is so far in. And this is actually a really funny fight for me. So, Viktor flashes in, uses his ult, and immediately Natwin uses his ult at the same time too. I don't think many people know that Viktor's ult actually has a silence effect, but that just chain CC was just enough to keep Twisted Fate in. I don't know if Sona ult was going to be fast enough to keep him in, but you can't assume that spells like Twisted Fates will be safe. Obviously, if you're being chased and try to escape and there's a Kassadin throwing balls at you, you're gonna be careful when you use your ult as Twisted Fate. But there he assumed, oh, it's 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds. They don't have time to react. I can just get out of here and go there. No. He can't. They stopped him. Viktor's ult having that 0.5 second silence, really, I had no idea before doing this, and I am astounded by this. But that silence is actually really strong because you now have a nice AoE interrupt on a character who has decent CC already. Now this fight, that was just a good catch on Twisted Fate and a good flash from his part. They really need to get more wards off from purple side because blue side does not have oracles. The second an enemy team gets oracles, warding becomes this difficult challenge. Until then though, you want to just kind of get wards everywhere. Just place as many as you can, because if they don't have an easy way to clear all of them out, then they're going to provide vision. And that fight right there was just, once again, I don't think Silsono knew what Lulu did. That's okay. I'm assuming he's learned by now. He's a good player, so I think he can adapt. And once again, Aranium just goes right back to farming. He knows getting items, getting big, getting fat will help win him the game. And the thing I really like about this is he tells his team when he's strong. He got the Rylai's, he got the Rabadons, he's got his Augment, he's got all this power. And it doesn't take a lot for him to kill anybody anymore. And he's hard to kill himself. So he wants to get into fights. He wants to put on this aggression. Now that he's finally reached the point of Viktor dominance. He's not forcing engagements beforehand. He was not doing anything in particular to assert himself on the map. He was just playing to get to this point. Now, knowing the power curves of champions is very, very weird because it depends on how the team is doing. It depends on a lot of things. But when you know there's a specific item that will make you strong, going for that item before you go for, risky plays and big team fights can really win you a game. And this Baron, this was just the effect of good oracles, good ward coverage, and a risky steal from the enemy team. I really don't have a whole lot to say about it. It was just really strong on Warwick to ult over the wall. It was really good for Viktor to flash over. And Lee Sin didn't land his Q on Baron. Clacy, the Warwick, absorbed the Q, and in doing so, he prevented the steal. So, once again, blue side plays very, very safely, and this is okay. A lot of people think that they have to force something, that they're on a timer. In this game, they really aren't. There's nothing saying that they have to end the game before a certain time. They have a great composition. So does purple side, but if they don't do anything too risky and just stay ahead and keep themselves ahead, they'll be fine, as long as the game doesn't go on for 2 hours. Now, this fight here, I really like how it starts. It starts the second the tower dies, the enemy team wasn't sure what they were doing, and it just caught them unexpectedly. Teams have trouble deciding whether to defend a tower or let it die, and this was the case of that. Right now, purple side is just on the run. They can't do anything to get away, really. Jintei is about to make it out. He's about to... Nope, spear. No, Jintei, turn left! Aww. The rest of purple side got... I think 2 people got nailed by a Sona ult. The rest are trying to fight. Aerodactyl is being melted by lasers. And this is just the effect of being ahead. Being ahead with good CC, actually, and good burst. So, this is going to be the death of purple side and the end of the game. I hope you learned a bit about Aranium and Viktor's Aranium especially. Aranium's Viktor especially. And this is Studio saying, hope you enjoyed the game, and adios.